Welcome, everyone, to The Role Effect. I'm your host, Milton.
And I'm Felicia. Thank you for joining us. We so greatly appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Yes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you like our content, just share it with others. We're just trying to spread a little positivity across the internet. So if you love this video, please like it and share it with others. If you're looking at this video right now, we're in the probably like a week or so into our 30-day gratitude vibes challenge, which is just posting something every day in the month of September that you're grateful and thankful for. So I know that you got something to be thankful for. I know that you do.
Sure you do.
Yes. So just let's do this and let's spread some positivity. You would just be amazed at how it would set the atmosphere for your day to just wake up and just give God thanks and just say what you're grateful for. It's nothing, it doesn't have to be big. You can be small. You know, I'm thanking for my cup of coffee today because some people can't afford coffee, right?
That's right.
So it doesn't have to be big, but just something you're grateful and thankful for, right?
Yeah, thankful for my fish or your fish.
Yeah, we have fish tanks, you guys. We have one that we're looking at, and we have one upstairs. So we're fish parents, right?
Absolutely. That's it.
So how was your day?
My day flowed pretty quick, so not too bad. Yeah. I can't complain about it. I woke up, got to see your face, so hey.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Life is good. Same here. I got to see hubby, and I was able to rest, which is great. I need that. I need it. And so I really had an enjoyable day, so I can't complain either. So I got to listen to my brother's message today. So it's 2 weeks straight that my brother's preached. So he's a preacher, and hopefully we can have him on here.
Shout out to Keith.
Yes, and he was so excellent today. You have got to watch it, baby. He was excellent. It was wonderful.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
2 home runs in a row, huh?
Knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
but the title again is Melodies of Absence, which is just strictly absentee parents. And I'll tell you why we chose that title in a little bit. But we're going to get scriptures started. We like to give scripture in relations to what we're talking about.
Right.
So.
Okay, so the first one is Ephesians 6:1-3.
Yes.
Children, obey our parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on earth.
Yes.
So honor your parents so that your life can be extended.
Yes.
Regardless of what they've done.
Yes.
Who they are. They're basically a vehicle to get you here.
Yes.
And that's what the Lord says. So you want to add on to that, or are you good?
Now I think it's spot on, regardless of whether your parents are here or not, regardless of any mistakes they made or whatever. We still have to honor, because honoring them means that we respect, and really that God makes no mistakes. So he knew that this person was going to be your parents. And so he makes no mistakes. So we have to honor that so that we can see a long life. So I think that's
kind of spot on.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the next one comes from Psalms 27:10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me.
Yes. And that's important. That one is important too, because let's just get right into the topic based on that right there. Based on that scripture, that helped me a lot, because my father was not present in my life. And so that scripture really helped me. I was brought up in the church. So I knew how to pray. I knew how to call on the Lord for whatever was bothering me. And I think that when you coming up as like I was in a step family, but I still feel like just being in a step being a child that does not have their biological father in the home, but there is a father, but that's your sibling's father.
Right.
It's still a void that you have because you're trying to find your identity or where you belong and how you fit. And so it's always the question of why or whatever. But it wasn't till later on, as a teenager, I realized that verse meant a whole lot. That regardless of anything, I have a father who would never forsake me, who would never leave me, who is always there, who makes no mistakes, who decided that this person was going to be my father. And because he knew that he would be absent from my life. It wasn't a surprise to God at all. And so I know later on in life, when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, this is the reason why. So I can't be mad at my journey because I know that God makes no mistakes and this is what it was supposed to be. So I feel like when you're a kid, it's hard to understand. You just know you're missing that piece of you and you're trying to figure out why. And you see your friends and they have their fathers and they have their dads. So like, let me break right here to say that I always say my father because there's a difference between father and dad.
Right.
You know, my father is my biological father, the person that was the vehicle that I got here on this earth. A daddy is a more an emotional thing. He's supportive. He's there. He's present. He, to get that title is, I think, would be. You could probably relate to that a little better.
It takes work and hands-on and to be present. Conversations, love. It really, you have to be, you can be present but not be present.
Yeah.
So you have to be engaged.
Yeah.
In your child, give direction, be an influencer, tell them right and wrong, So it's more of a hands-on.
Yeah, that's
kind of deal.
The daddy role.
Right.
And the father is totally
just father
different.
You in, basically.
Right. It's the same title to the same person, but it's what is it that you're doing that requires me or even emotionally make me feel like I need to say daddy. You know what I mean? And although I knew who my father was, there was no relationship there. And what I can respect about my mom is that my mom never talked badly about him. Ever. Never. She always used to say, don't worry about it. He'll need you before you need him. And it was always that question in my mind is like, well, why is he not present?
Right.
And there's a lot of factors on why some people are not present. Now, for my father, it was his choice. It wasn't that my mom kept them away or she said, you can't come. It was just a choice of his to not be present. There's other reasons, people are absent, could be death. They're not here no longer. A lot of moms sometimes die in childbirth. Fathers die for whatever reasons. And then you just have those who choose not to be present, whether it's they just are not emotionally available to be there or drugs or or a strain on the relationship from the two individuals that brought you into this world, which is a lot of cases that they just don't get along. And so it causes the rift, and that's not good because I don't think at that time anybody's thinking about child.
It's not good for the child at all. Yeah. So I always heard there's no book to parenting, but You bring a child in, you have to show them direction.
Yeah.
If you don't, they find direction from other sources.
Yeah.
And by your mom being a good steward to try to tell you, hey, don't worry about it, she gonna hold her end on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, missing fathers have to show up because she can't fix that side of it.
Right.
You know, he has to fix that side
Right.
of it.
And the thing of it is that it's so hard to tell your parent, the parent that's there, what you're feeling, because it's hard to kind of put those feelings in place. But you do miss that. That is a void that you kind of suffer with, because it's like a form of abandonment,
right.
if you will, like, because he's not there, and then you see him and you're just wondering, I'm here, you see me, it's like,
I imagine
I'm your blood,
I imagine it's a difference from being MIA, missing in action totally, and then missing in action, but you're local.
Yes.
Like, I see you and I know you.
Yes.
Versus I never met my father. Met you. It's got to be a major difference there of how you feel.
Yeah, because you know that they know you're there.
Right.
And they know where you are.
Right.
And they just so disconnected that they just, I don't know what it is. It's just, like, now I can look back on it and talk about it in a more spiritual light,
right.
But back then it was just that pain and that void that you miss, and you just find yourself looking at every situation and looking at daddies and daughters and going, I wish I had that, And I think that's a lot of people's situation, is that they would never have that. And so for me, it was important for my daughter and to have that relationship that is that she will remember for the rest of her life.
And not have the experience that you had.
Right. I didn't want her to have that experience, and thank God the grandchildren don't have that experience as well,
right,
because they have present fathers in their lives. And so it is
a blessing.
It's a blessing. You have to just like cut the bleeding somewhere, right?
Yeah. And that's why the book does say honor your parents, because a lot of these parents can't parent. They do not know how to parent. A lot of them are afraid, and a lot of them can't handle the responsibility. And then a lot of them got psychological situations that they hadn't dealt with for themselves.
Yeah.
More or less, I got to try to raise a kid because I can't really take care of myself.
Yeah. And I think that's when you get older. As I got older, like I said, I saw my father on occasions, like just when I was in the streets going somewhere to a store or something, I will occasionally run into him. And he did acknowledge me and all the things, and but he just wasn't a present person in my life, so I didn't know anything about him. And so that it was just weird, because I know he's present,
right,
and in the town we grew up in is very small, so basically he's down the street, around the corner, not far at all. So it's just crazy that when I look back on it, it's like, what in the world? But I realize now so much more was happening in his life that it stopped him from being present, not only for me, but for siblings that I have, except for the last sibling.
Right. So it not only just affects you, but it affects the whole family unit.
Yeah.
When you're not involved,
Yeah.
So,
because not only that, you miss out on the other sibling because you know them, but you don't know them.
Right.
And so you miss out on that because there was no connection there, that you could, as like my brother who grew up with me, my mom had 2 biological kids, so we grew up together.
Right.
So that relationship is solid because this is who I know. But the other siblings, I know of them, but I don't have a relationship with them, and I think that's due to him not being present for any of us,
right,
except for the last one. And I'm really happy that she was able to get what we didn't get,
right.
So I think the short-term effect on that is like, just as a child, you just wondering, why are you not enough, where this person feels that they don't want to know you or get to know you, and that's very hurtful, and it's hard to talk about that, because you don't know how to get your feelings across to be able to say that. And not that I know I had this home that I was brought up in, and I know I was loved, but it's still that part where you're thinking, God, my brother have his father, like, why can't I have that? You know what I mean?
Right.
I know this is my stepfather. I get it. I got that.
Right.
But it's still that piece in you that is like, but why?
Right. And
why?
I'm not sure. Did you pose the question, or back then it wasn't something you really asked at that age?
I didn't, because I just, you just
kind of went with the flow.
You just go with the flow, and you just, my mom always said that, don't worry about, because like I had an aunt that she would come and get me. So I met my grandmother on that side like a couple of times, and so I knew his number to call him.
Right.
But when I called him, it wasn't like good conversations, as far as like if I asked, hey, can you get X, Y, and Z? And he would like not get it, or he would hang up, or something crazy.
Wasn't pleasant.
No, and I remember my mom saying, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. My stepfather saying, don't worry about it. You're going to get what you need. Don't worry about it. And I that was easy said than done, because it was just like, but why? Because you wanted to know the reason why he was like he was, but I didn't. I just had to then just go with the flow and be like, okay, it is what it is. Let me just move on. It wasn't until I got older and I saw him when I would, when you and I would sometimes go into town, and he would be at his favorite place or whatever, and I would see him, and at that point he was apologetic, very apologetic, and every time I saw him, he would cry and apologize for not being a part of my life. Now, because I grew up to be respectful, and I've always known the Lord, I just was like, if he said I love you, I said I love you too, because I did. Because no matter what, I know now that this was the vessel God used for me.
Right.
And so I had to respect and honor that, because I wanted, it says that your days may be longer. And so whether he was present or absent, he's still my father, and he is who God chose to be my father. And so I have to respect that, And so as I got older, I just realized that, okay, he may have had something going on in his life where he didn't know how to be a parent, and he didn't know how to be a present father.
Right. Yeah. I think that happens with a lot of parents out there. This is why you're supposed to forgive them, show them grace, because God knows that there's some flaws out there. Again, parents are just here as a vehicle to get you here. But as you become older and you're learning and you become an adult, then you get to see things out of your eye, not their eye. And again, they may not be capable. So, maybe the communication wasn't there properly either.
I say that we don't understand what our parents went through.
Right.
Because they probably went through some things too that they don't want to share or didn't share or whatever.
Right.
And so you have to give grace. You have to give grace. And I remember, I'll tell you this. I remember I asked my mom probably maybe like when I graduated high school or whatever. And I said, was my father there when I was born? And she said, yes, because I was born at home. So they had midwives at that time. And so she was like, yeah, you was born at home. He was there throughout the whole entire time. And I have his last name. So he signed my birth certificate and everything, held me, all the things. But then she said he walked out and she never saw him again. Whoa. You know, he never came back again. And so I was like, what?
Right.
Because it was just so odd to me. It's like, what am I supposed to get from this? As an adult, I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, what am I supposed to get from this? And so I'm just always questioning. I have questions that I'm trying to maybe like ask God like to give me clarity on what am I supposed to get from this. And so I thought that this is really crazy. And I remember like 2 years before he passed, I was working at another job, and I remember him calling my phone early morning, and the first thing he said, well, I just want to call you to tell you that when I die, I don't want anyone crying at my funeral. I am going to be with the Lord, and I don't want anyone, and I'm telling you because you're the oldest. And I was thinking in my mind when he said that, but of course, I'm going to keep it respectful. So I'm like thinking, I'm not sure who's going to cry.
Oh my God.
Because none of us really know him well enough to produce tears. So, but I just was like, oh, okay, got it. You know, I hear you. Okay, have a good day, you know, or whatever. So fast forward when he passed, well, before he passed, I got a call and say he wasn't going to make it and I needed to come. And so I came. Now it's, I guess, 7 of us, and I'm the oldest of 7. And it was 3 of us there. Yeah, the girls, because one brother came in, but he left, and the others didn't come at all because none of them wanted to come. They didn't have a relationship with him. Only the youngest had a relationship with him, so she knew him as daddy.
Right.
We didn't know him as that. And she asked me one time, it's like, why do you keep saying, where's your dad? You know, and I'm like, I had to explain to her because you have a different side of him that I don't have. So I tell you, when I get to this place, because now he's at hospice, and they, you know, not expecting him to live for much longer. And so when they tell me what room he's in, I go to this room. And when I used to see him, the few times that I did, he always wore like a hat. And so when I never saw him without one. And so when she was like, I said, he's my father. She said, okay, let me take you here. And so when she opened the door, she said, the room is right there. She pointed to it. So when I opened the door, I looked and I didn't recognize him. And I'm like, is this? And she said, yeah, that's him. Which was crazy to me because I'm like, I don't even know him. I don't even know how he looks without a hat on.
Right.
So I go in and they telling me like, when you're in a transitioning state, your ears is the last to go. So they can hear you, but they cannot. He was not, his eyes wasn't open and he wasn't responsive, but he could hear you. So I was like, hey, this is Felicia. I'm here. If you hear me, give me a sign that you hear me. And he coughed 3 times, and I know he was saying I love you because he says every time he saw me, he said that.
Right.
And so I was like just sitting there looking at him this whole entire time that he was transitioning, and I was thinking, man, I don't know him. Like, I don't know his favorite color. I don't know what kind of foods he liked.
It was pretty bizarre.
I don't know the music he liked. I don't know him.
Right.
And it was just so, like, it was just so weird to be in that room and to witness this. But then it was just one day I just had this revelation that God is so good. He'll just bring those things to you. Whereas I was born in June, and he signed my birth certificate and all, and he passed in June, and I signed his death certificate. And then I was like thinking, okay, this was in June, my birth month. And then I'm like, oh, he died 21 days after my birthday. And then I was like, let me do some more research and let me see what 20 days. And 21 days spiritually meant completion. And I was like, this is so crazy to me. It's like we had no relationship in between. But June is I came in the world and he left the world.
The start and the end.
The beginning and the end. And I was like, this is crazy. But I realized that his purpose was to get me here.
Right.
That was the purpose. Mm-hmm. That was his purpose, to get me here. And so I'm so thankful to God for just showing me that, because I could give him grace, and I can look at him not to say in a bad way anymore that he was this and he wasn't that. No, he was what he was supposed to be for my life. And that is a vehicle to get me here. And then I realized that this podcast and the things that you see on social media, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or anything that I'm putting words to, that was a gift from him.
Absolutely.
Every talent, when I'm singing, I remember a story where the brother that's under me, one day he said, come and go down Dad's house, because he stayed with our father at one point, so he knew him a little better than I did. And I said, no, I don't want to go down there, because I'd never been to his house before. He said, no, you could just come and go with me. And so I said, okay. So I go. Now, I've always sung in the choir at church and all the things, but for some reason I was thinking that I kind of got that from my stepfather, because my stepfather could sing too, and he would always have me write down lyrics and stuff for his band. I just thought I just kind of caught on to that, and I'm like,
ooh, I got it.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I got that from him, So I did not think of it, because again, I don't know my biological father like that. So I'm writing music and doing all the things, lyrics down for him and stuff, and listening to the band, and he could sing, and my stepfather could sing as well. And so I'm like, that's who I inherit that from. I didn't know a difference.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah, And so when I go down to my father's house with my brother, I hear this singing. And I said, darn, he has the radio up real loud. And he said, that's not the radio, that's him. I said, he can sing? He said, yes, he can sing. I was like, wow. So I walked in, and when he came out, he's like, hey, how you doing? It was an awkward conversation, and like, hi, whatever. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know you can sing. He said, yeah, I've been singing all my life. And I'm like, wow, okay. And so then I remember saying to my mom, I didn't know that he could sing. Like, my mom likes singers, obviously.
Apparently.
Like singers. So I'm like, oh my goodness, so I realized later on that what he left me and what he had was mine to have. It's mine to carry now.
It was an inheritance.
It was an inheritance. Like everything he had, whether while he was living or in his death, it is mine. It is mine to have. And so his talents, his voice, his words, his lyrics, the way I can write things and put things together is all him. And so although I did not know him well at all, that was a gift that God gave to me from him. And I think that was the purpose, and that's why I am here, right here, in this moment.
Wow.
In this moment.
That's right.
Doing what I'm doing because of him.
Absolutely.
And so I have to be thankful to God for just showing me that.
Right.
And showing me that my God has always been present, and he's always been there for me. Even in the times where I felt sad and felt like I needed an answer, my Father God was always there.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was my Father that I could go to and talk to and have conversations when I was like feeling a certain way.
Right.
So I say to anyone who's feeling like, why is he not there, or why she's not there? Because some mothers are absent as well. And so if you're feeling that and you're feeling like rejected, I would say, look deeper and give grace and give mercy to your parents and to your father or to your mother who's not present, because sometimes they do the best that they know how to do, and we don't know what their past was like, what happened or whatever, that they couldn't connect.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say when he had the 7th child, he was ready, he was present, he was there. He was with her all the time. They was together all the time. And so I'm not mad at that. I'm happy about that, because the number 7, she was number 7, and that 7 is completion as well. So I think that all of it was a purpose in the divine order, and that I have to respect that. And I'm so thankful that God showed me that. So I would just say, I pray that you know the Lord. I pray that if you don't, that you'll get to know him so that he can give you the revelation that I received and what I found to be a blessing. Because, and what's crazy is his wife was there, so she could have signed the death certificate. And so I'm sitting in the middle, and she just passed the sheet to me, and she said, you do it. Which was like, okay. So now I'm writing out things and putting his name down and signing his death certificate. And I just was like, this is weird.
You didn't understand why you was doing it either.
I didn't.
Until you got the revelation later.
When I got the revelation,
yeah.
I'm like, my goodness, he died in the month that I was born. And we had no relationship in this gap of me coming in the world in June and him leaving the world in June.
Right.
And he signing my birth certificate and I'm signing his death certificate. But we didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it was like we're strangers.
Right. But everything has a purpose.
Everything has a purpose. It's a divine purpose for your life. Whether that parent is here or not, it's the purpose for your life. It is something that you're supposed to connect or do with that, with the inheritance of that bloodline.
Right.
You just got to figure out what that is. It is something. God has a divine order for our lives. And whatever parent, I knew it didn't come from my mom. She gonna kill me when she see that. She ain't sing or nothing like that. So
she understands. She went after the singers.
Yeah, she didn't have that talent. But I knew it. I thought it came from another person, but I realized, oh my goodness, this is mine to have. And so I am living in that blessing right now with this podcast and with the quotes and the stuff that we try to put out. That is my blessing, and that's what he left me with, and I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, let me add on something.
Okay.
There. Most of the quotes she puts out. I could, but I don't have that talent, but it can come slowly. But she's been doing this for years now.
Yeah.
So that's definitely truly is a gift that was deposited.
Absolutely.
With the words, with the singing, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I would say, like she said, just focus on what you have that they have deposited to you. Mm-hmm. And you definitely have to forgive them if you believe in God and you want him to forgive you. Yes. There's no other choice with that.
You have no other choice.
But at the same time, just learn and reflect as to what they might have left you and just do better. Mm-hmm. You know, with your kids and your grandkids. Mm-hmm. That's a lesson. If they didn't do the right thing, make some adjustments so you don't have that generational thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
You have to break the cycle
Right.
of what was. But again, give parents grace. Give them grace because most were, 19 and 20, they're still kids when they having you and they trying to be the best that they can. And we as parents, we're gonna fall. We're gonna make mistakes. We're not gonna always say the right thing. We're not gonna always do the right thing. Give us grace because you're gonna want that when you have kids, that for them to be able to give you grace, because there's not a book or nothing to tell us, oh, step by step what you need to do. And most times we go by what happened to us or how our parents raised us. The good thing about this whole thing is that the generation is different now, and it's more parents, which is a good news. It's a lot more fathers that are being more present now, because the stats is just kind of crazy. Did you read the stats, babe?
Yeah, I got it right here.
The stats.
There's about 18 million children live without a biological father, and in the U.S. And the U.S. has the highest rate of single parenting in the household.
Yes.
That's about what? One in four. 1 in 4.
1 in 4 will be without a mother or a father
in the home.
Yeah, and I would say that if you are combining household and combining families, which we did very well with the boys and with all of us combining Keela and all the children together, it's because I realized that they need everybody. They need this village of people around them. And so there was no harsh feelings or no bitterness or anything towards anybody. It was no need to, because the best interest was the best interest of the children. It's not about me. Don't let your children grow up without that mother or that father because you're bitter and mad and angry. Let them have this relationship with this parent, so that, especially if they are wanting that relationship, because a lot of people want the relationship and they can't get the relationship, and then it's some that just choose not to be present, and I get it. But for those, okay, but for the ones that want to be a staple in that child's life, please, 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 please let them be there, because the long-term effects of that, if you don't analyze it and try to spiritually see what God is trying to convey, it is going to be very hard and difficult, because you're going to have trust issues. You're going to have the daddy issues. Daddy wasn't there, and you're going to have those issues, and you're going to take it from this place to that, to this relationship, and then you're going to have kids, and then this is going to be their story, and da-da-da-da. And if you're lucky, it won't, but some it does. So you want to make sure that you're doing what's best for the child and not for you. You can't be selfish. You gotta just let go, let God, and thank God for, if that relationship didn't work, then thank God. It's just, I wrote something the other day. It's like, thank God he closed doors for me, and that chapter ended because they wasn't supposed to be a part of the main story. The main story was when I turned the page, and I was fortunate enough to meet this one right here. But every other relationship I had was just a part that I was supposed to learn from and take from it. It was just a chapter, but the main story was here, right here. And so we have to be okay with the closed doors, because God is trying to show you something in that. So I would say just really think about things, and if they want to be present, because we have some that don't, but the ones that want to be present, help them out and let them get the kids and give you a break. All
closed doors ain't bad things.
No.
And that's what we have to realize. But I would say if you got a kid, and whether it's step kid or real kid, if one of the parent, sorry, if the parent that's not there, or you're separated, and you love this parent and it's this parent's kid, you would be doing a dishonor not to let that kid have a relationship with that parent.
Yeah.
Unless that's just a terrible parent.
Right. They need both, and I think that's just them evaluating what's best. But that parent that is taking care of that child would, hopefully doing the best to kind of evaluate, should you be in this child's life? If it's going to cause more harm than good, then, you
Right.
have to think about those things and make a decision from there. But if they're good and they want to be present, let them be present, because you don't want them wondering why they're not good enough. Because your love is good enough, but when you see your friends and others with their fathers, you like that starts to be a question. So I would say just really evaluate it, pray about it, think about it, and if you can make a change some stuff, then change it for the good. Because just because it didn't work with you guys doesn't mean that person won't be a good mother or father. So
true,
I would say
absolutely,
don't let long-term
hurt
your child, and then they take this on throughout the duration of their lives. And I'm so grateful that I was able to be there and see this transition, but then I'm thankful to God for revealing to me what was important and what I need to pick from that. So that was
really good.
I'm really grateful and I'm really thankful for that. And I would say he apologized every time he saw me. He apologized. And so
Yeah.
I said, you're forgiven. You don't have to keep saying that. You're forgiven. I understand that you couldn't be there. And you guys, we have to really, in the spiritual sense, I'm really hoping that if you're listening to me, that if you don't know the Lord, that you will get to know the Lord. I really want to stress that, because it is so hard out here. And you can live this life without him if you choose to. But I would not advise you to do that. Get to know the Lord so that he can help you navigate this life and help you find an answer to questions that answers come through people. It can come through something like, you might have a question and you might pick up a book and there might be an answer right there. You might have a question and you start talking to a person or a stranger or whomever, and they might say something and you like, wait a minute, that's a question I just asked God. But you have to be connected in order to get that. Because if you don't know him, if you don't know his voice, if he doesn't know your voice, you won't know his voice, and vice versa. So you have to get connected so that you can hear him speak.
Here's an example. Probably you wouldn't have got revelation had you not been spiritually inclined.
No,
right?
I wouldn't.
And also, I believe it might have gave you some sort of closure too.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are past, or their parents are past, or whatever, and they don't have closure. They don't have forgiveness. They still bitter, and you just stuck in a place until you leave.
Yeah.
So it's important to have communication, a prayer life, where you can kind of put things together,
Yeah.
because somebody can die off and you be on the hook.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part is important.
I think it's important to clear your heart of all the negativity and the stuff. And I forgave him a long time ago. He asked for forgiveness. I said, you're forgiven. And I meant that. And when he said, I love you, and I said, I love you too, I did. Because regardless of whatever happened, again, God made no mistakes. He knew that he was not going to be present in my life. He knows everything about my life. He knew I was going to go through heartaches and pains and all the different things, but it is for a divine purpose. It's for me to learn something in that moment, and I did, and I'm thankful that I did, and I kind of evaluated and looked at it, and all this revelation started coming up, and I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Thank you, God. You know, whatever. So, and I was glad that I could be there in his transitioning out of the world, because he was there when I came into this world. And so that was our connection. We had no relationship in between that other than me coming and him leaving.
And through that, you deposited an inheritance, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which made me why we're on a podcast.
Yes.
So, you know,
yes.
Hey.
My talents and gifts came from him. My hard work ethics came from my mom, though, because my mom, that's all she did was like, you don't have to worry about nobody because you're going to be taken care of. And she went to work every single day. I just saw her work and make sure my brother and I had what we needed. And so I'm thankful to God for that as well. So we didn't lack in that area of having things we want and what we needed. So I'm grateful for that. So my work ethics and what I do, I know I got from my mom, but my gifts and my talents and the things, it's strictly my father. And so I'm just truly honored that God was able to download that to me.
And receive the gifts.
And I received these gifts, and I know that I was left with something.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy about that because that I think that was all in God's plan.
Yeah.
He knows exactly how much that you can handle and what you can bear. And he don't put no more on you than you can bear. So I know that one day this was going to be revealed, but I didn't know I was going to get it the way that I got it. And so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So
closure, at least.
Closure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I know a lot of y'all are going through that kind of situation, and you're probably still on the fence about parenting. Your father was never in your life, or your mother was never in your life, and you're finding it hard to forgive them. But you must forgive. Mm-hmm. If they got you here and you're an adult or a child and you're growing up, then pretty much they was the vehicle just to get you here. Mm-hmm. Now you have to have a forgiving heart, learn from the past, and move on. That's just what you should do.
Yeah, and figure out what is it that you're supposed to take from it.
That's right.
Because I think it's something that you're supposed to take from it, but you got to figure out what it is that you're supposed to take from that. Because it's something that God is like, everything is a lesson and something that you're supposed to take from whatever. Every failed relationship is a lesson of, okay, what am I supposed to take and what am I supposed to learn from this? When you in like pain, when you're hurting about something, a situation, some situations we bring on ourselves, of course, because we're not, doing it the Bible way or the way God would want us to do it. And so we find ourselves being in situations because we didn't do it the way that we were supposed to do it in the first place. So then we go through all these pains and hurts and issues and all this stuff when we didn't have to do that if we had just followed the
protocol.
Lord. Yeah, but the great thing about him is that he's a forgiving God, and if you ask, he will forgive you. And we just have to just try to get up every day to be better and greater. We'll never be perfect, but we can strive to be better and to just give people grace. We gotta give people grace, you guys, and we gotta love people through their faults, through the flaws, through the everything. We have to love each other. This is what the world is missing, just love. And so I would say, just love them through it. Love parents through, the flaws and all, because we have them too. And so it's not right to judge people based on what we see on the surface, because a lot of stuff is deep. It's internal. It's stuff we don't see that people are going through.
Well, definitely in the flesh. If you have a parent that's been missing and never did what they need to do, you're going to probably be angry.
Yeah.
And that's normal. Yeah. But I would say don't stay there. That's the thing. You're going to be angry about a lot of things, but figure out a way to get past that so it doesn't stress you out and tear you down.
Yeah.
Learn from the good stuff you need to take from parenting is your first teachers.
Yes.
So grab the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff and make adjustments so that you could be a better person.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, we want you to stick around to the end of the episode. Don't click off, because we're going to do a roll rewind, one of our new segments in this episodes. Now, we want to do either good news or the roll rewind. And that's basically just telling you a story of something that happened. So stick around to the end so that you can hear my take. And I don't know if you heard my husband on the last one. He did the first one, which is about the Scouts, the Boy Scouts. And so he did that one, and it was pretty good. I was very impressed that he still could recite all the things.
Oh my honor.
All the things. So just stick around for that. This is going to conclude our podcast episode today.
And if you have any questions or concerns about how you feel with your parents or whatever, how she got through her situation, then please feel free to email, and maybe we can bring up some other episodes that may be related to it or give you some information.
Yeah, email. You can just put it in the comments if you can email if you don't want someone to see your question, but if not, then you can put it in the comments. The comments are on for you to leave a message, or if you want us to talk about a subject matter, send that to us as well. If you have any questions, we did a Q&A. We can do a part 2 of a Q&A. Oh, yeah. We just want to bring you good things, and we want to be helpful. We want God to use us in any way that He can, and just be impactful. So if there's anything that you want us to talk about, just let us know.
Just holler at us.
Yeah.
We here.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and a lot of our shorts are on those platforms.
Right.
So if you don't see the shorts on YouTube, you can see it over there. Go over there, follow us over there as well. That helps us, and it helps get our videos out to multiple people. So if you don't mind, share this video, share our content,
and subscribe,
and
to
like, the channel, and like, yes, send us a comment, say hi, so we'll know that you're watching and you're enjoying the content.
That's right.
Yeah. So until next time, we love you.
Love you guys.
Roll it up, rewind it back. Yeah, we taking you there.
This segment is us going back in time to tell you about a story that relates to the subject or the episode that we just had. And so the subject matter that we just had was about Melodies of Absence, which in my case, an absentee father who was not present in my life. But as I was telling you, I took some things from him. And so melodies is just like, you know, that rhythm, that tune, that song that you hear, that melody that just like, you know, make you like move or make you feel something. Melodies of Absence is what this was for us, because he was in his own life doing his own thing, singing, traveling, doing his thing. I was singing in a choir, you know, traveling with the church, going different places and doing things. And although we was absent from each other, we was kind of doing the same things at the same time. It's crazy. But so I want to share that I mentioned that I found out that he could sing by my brother who lived with him at one point, and I met him a while back. I don't see them often. They moved away from the city that we lived in, and I've not had any contact, but occasionally every now and again. And so when I found out that he could sing, I thought that that was just incredible. But I say all that to say that the story that I remember about him so well is that I'm a person of respect. My mom taught me to be respect. My grandmother spoke of being respectful all the time. And so I didn't hear bad words about my father, which I think was great because it gave me sort of like I could make my own decision about who he was and who he is. And so I really came to the conclusion is that he just couldn't be what he needed to be for me, and that's okay. I realized that, and I realized that before he passed, and that he was able to apologize to me for not being present, and I was able to say, I forgive you for not being present, because I don't think that that was the intention. I really don't. I think that he was in place to get me into this earth, and I am fine with that because God makes no mistakes, and he knew that this person was going to be my father, and he knew he wasn't going to be present, but he gave me what I needed when I needed it, and he gave me music, and I love music, and I know that is because of that. And so I'm totally honored and grateful for just that part of that, you know what I mean? And so I remember that there was times where I remember this one particular time, and I was very upset with him because I was getting married, and you know, most times the father paid for the bride to get married. Your daughter is getting married and you want to give her away, you want to do all the things. I did not have an expectation of him giving me away because that wasn't going to happen. But I felt like, you know, hey, listen, he's not done nothing my entire life, so surely he can get my hair fixed. So I called him, and I said, hey, you know, I'm getting married or whatnot. Do you think you can get my hair done? You guys, he was so nonchalant, like, no, I don't have any money, and plus I'm about to go somewhere with this girl and she's paying for it, and click, hung up on me. Hung up the phone, and I was like devastated. I was like, oh, you know. And my mom was like, don't worry about it. And my stepfather was like, you're gonna get your hair done. You don't worry about him. You're gonna get what you need. Stop worrying about that. And, da, 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 da. And I was like just so devastated because I'm thinking, but I'm your blood. I'm your blood, right? And after the devastation wore off and just living life and just moving on, because he didn't get my hair fixed and he didn't attend the wedding and he didn't do any of those things. And after just growing and becoming a mom and just seeing how things are so difficult sometimes, and sometimes you just don't know what to do. You just don't know. And sometimes you run away from a situation, and sometimes you stay and stick it out. But wherever your decision is, it's a consequence behind that. And someone is going to be without or hurt or something by it. And I realized that I had to give him grace, and I had to understand that he wasn't in a place where he was able to take care, not only me, but other siblings as well. And so I had to give him grace. I had to remember that when it came to me and mine, I was like, you know, it gets rough, it gets tough, and you either built for it or you're not. And the ones that are will be there, and the ones that are not will not. And so we have to just take what it is that God is trying to give us in that moment and be okay with that. Because God, the Father God, never left me. He was always there every moment of every day. And so I realized that, and I listen, I want the Father God over anybody, any day, anyway. So I was okay with that. And so this is just telling you that no matter what life throws your way, you're going to be okay. Get connected with the one who knows you the most, and he will make your life better than you could have ever imagined. Don't matter about the absence of anybody. He has a plan for your life. Get connected and watch him work. Thank you for watching. Mwah.
Yeah, it's the role effect. We talk love, we talk faith. God first, couple goals, ain't no room for the hate. We keep it real, keep it true.